Welcome back to the How to Become a Trader course here. So now we are finally inside of our trading desk. And one thing's for certain is most of the trading desks that you utilize will pretty much have the same exact base setup. So here we're looking at the price action. Down here we'll have our value. And then over here we will have our actual price. You can pretty much customize everything about your trading desk. Now this particular trading desk is platformed with TradingView. And TradingView is a very popular trading desk that individuals use. It is usually an industry favorite. Most people are looking for brokers that pair with Trading Desk and, pair with TradingView. And it is a very powerful trading desk, and it doesn't have much of a cost barrier when it comes to getting higher levels of indicators and market information. So when you look around your trading desk, you'll find the center of the canvas will always show what you are currently trading. I trade futures, and right now we are currently on the S&P 500, the current contract. As we can see, the price action has sort of trended sideways this morning. We have a very big meeting with the Fed as far as rates cuts are concerned. So we are in a bit of the chop. New York open, but we are sort of waiting on word here. Whether word has come through or not at this point in time, we'll go over how price action moves a little bit later. But as you can see, you're looking at the buying and selling currently going on the market right now. So what we'll do is we'll go from bottom to top, and we will work our way through and around the desk here, so you are not overwhelmed when you open up this for the first time. As you can see at the bottom here, we'll have our time frames. And these time frames can move in a 24-hour cycle or a 12-hour cycle, depending on how you would like to see it if you're American. I use the 24-hour cycle, and what this is basically telling us here is for today, we have 2 sessions before us inside of a session cycle, and that will be Japan, and then we'll move into London, and then we'll move into New York. That's usually how people will time their kill zones, is what these are called. Essentially, this is to say that Tokyo is going to be open anywhere from 8 p.m. in the evening to 2 a.m. in the morning. This is New York time, as we will time it with Wall Street. London will be open anywhere from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m., and then New York will be 9:30 to 4. I am Central Time, so I am always an hour behind New York. So my trading day starts at 8:30, even though Wall Street opens up at 9:30. My trading day ends at 3:30, even though Wall Street closes at 4. And so this is basically where you will have, or my trading day ends at 3, excuse me. My trading day will end at 3. Wall Street ends at 4. We are an hour behind them. And so this is basically to say that the session will start, and it'll sort of give you a little bit of an indication of how the markets are moving now. Obviously, these are after hours, so the market's volume is extremely low. When you see these upticks and rises here, you are getting into the New York session. And so once the New York session ticks off, as you can see, we had a sell off here, and we are bouncing back from that as we speak right now. So the time will be at the bottom, and basically any trading canvas that you work on will also separate your days or your trading sessions. So this will be yesterday that we are looking at, and this will be Monday. So we have Monday, Tuesday, today is Wednesday, and then tomorrow we'll take off Thursday. So moving from left to right, you're going to be going back in time on your markets. So you can take this information and utilize it and customize it how you like. So when we move up the chart here, to the left side, we will have our toolbox. And so this will give us all kinds of tools to help us make trades, draw out patterns, check our percentages, check our positions, etc. So for example, we'll go down the line here, and we'll see that within each tool we'll have more tools that pretty much align with that particular major tool is what I'll call it. So here we have our trend line. And what this does is it allows you to take an anchor point and pull it to another anchor point. So if you wanted to say, for example, hypothetically, map a downward trend, you can take that trend line and anchor that down to the level of support here. And then you can go inside the toolbox and sort of play around with any tool that you like. This is the ray tool. So say, for example, if you were marking previous levels on your chart and you wanted to have that information pretty much go for the foreseeable future, this is where you'll use your ray line, where trend lines are pretty much asking for a beginning and an end to that particular line itself. Ray lines will just go for as long as you like. And so there's very different tools in here that will pretty much give you what you're looking for when you are moving around your own canvas. So say, for example, with the ray line, if we wanted to mark the previous high, we could do that. And then you just sort of go down your toolbox, and this is why it's important to have a paper trading account, because you can go around your trading desk for the entire week or two, just getting to know your particular desk and what it has to offer. We also have a few different equations, like your fib retracement, which is customized. This usually comes with a couple more lines, but I like to use 2. If I were to reset this, it would look at the base level. And you can see within each tool, you'll be able to customize it to your liking. And so you'll have a video later on. We'll go over most of these tools that individuals use, or the tools that I particularly like as well. And so the toolbox is a very powerful little node of options here on the side of your screen. And sometimes it will rest at the top. I've seen and used platforms where this box is at the top. I've also seen platforms where it's just a tool icon, right? And then the drop down will give you all of these options. But within the options of utilizing them, each tool will have its own way of doing things. So you can go ahead in there and you can choose, say, for example, the line thickness or the color that you would like to showcase different information, etc. You'll also have a long position and a short position tool, which is very useful. So say, for example, if you were looking to go long, which, this is just a random entry, you can go ahead and utilize this tool to map out your long position, where you want to take profit and where you want to set your stop loss, and then allow the candlesticks and the price action to develop within that. Each of these are easily applicable and deletable once you are finished. If we go up to the tip top here, we're going to have our time frames. And so with time frames, you can pretty much use any time frame that you'd like. And this is going to basically set the time to the tick style. So for example, right now we are in the 15-minute time frame. So what this utilizes is each and every 15 minutes inside of the hour, the candle is going to open and close at the top of the 15-minute and the bottom of the 15-minute time frame. So if we are looking at this chart right now, with the time being 12:42, this next candle is set to close at 12:45. And then it'll continue on from there and close again once more at 1 o'clock. If you want to go lower than that, you can go inside your 5-minute candlestick tick. And so essentially what this is saying is this next candle is also set to close at 12:45, but the next candle will open at 12:45 and close at 12:50. And then the lowest that I particularly utilize is the 3-minute, and so this will be closing every 3 minutes. All of the information here is essentially the same. You still have buyers and sellers that are utilizing the market in real time. It doesn't matter what time frame you're in, but we will talk about the reason why we look at different time frames in the future. But these minutes will essentially tell you different information as well. You can also go up to the day, and so each of these candlesticks are an entire trading session from top to bottom. So for example, what information would we be looking for here? Well, we would want to know, say for example, what yesterday opened at and closed at. So you could certainly mark those levels, and you could also utilize the knowledge of understanding if you are inside of the trading day or outside of it. Right now we are inside of it, and so we will learn what that means a little later down the road. But all of the time frames are valid, and when you are trading, you'll eventually learn what time frames that you feel comfortable in. For example, I'm not comfortable inside of a 1 minute time frame. Information moves a little bit too fast for me. 5 minutes is my safe spot, but when I am looking for information to trend, I'm going up to 15 to 30 minutes. And if my 15 minute, my 30 minute, and my 3 minute are sort of in sync with each other, we'll go ahead and take trades as low as the 5 minute. 15, 5, and 30. We'll go ahead and take trades as low as the 5 minute, but we will be keeping an eye on the trends for the 15 minute and the 30 minute, for example. But when we get a little bit deeper into technical analysis, we will discuss that. So for these time frames, that's essentially what the markets are doing. The candles are opening and closing on these time frames. The very next, you'll have basically an option to say, do you want candlesticks or you want traditional bars? This is how the markets used to look back in the day. Not much information there from what traders typically like to take a look at, so we use bars instead. It just gives us a cleaner open and close, and as we moved forward inside of the stock market, people understand candlesticks and wicks, which will be the black lines here on the candle. We'll go ahead and get deeper into that when we actually discuss candlesticks. But you can go ahead and take a look. You can make, your candles hollow, solid. I believe there's even a dot setup on some trading platforms. It just really depends on how you want to look at it, but this is sort of the traditional space that people like to take a look at their markets in. As we move right along, the next button will be your indicators. Now, we'll have a whole video based off of indicators, but these are all, brilliant mathematical, statistical, plottable information that you can overlay on your chart. For example, we could take a look at a classic here, which is our Bollinger Bands. We click on that, and now we have our Bollinger Bands overlaying on our price action. Each indicator is going to be an equation that basically plots out information to help you trade. So the Bollinger Bands is a classic, and from what we can see here, we'll be able to also utilize the customizable tool and change the information as we see fit. But you will go ahead and get into indicators a little bit later. But this bar is going to be full of all kinds of indications. And so in previous lessons, when we talked about the levels of indicators that are available to you and at your disposal, level 2 will offer even more, and level 1 will sort of give you a mixed basket of the traditional indications. And so we'll talk about indicators deeper later, but essentially, these are tools to help you trade, to help you confirm your biases when entering and exiting positions. But it's not for you to go in there and just lay on as many indicators as possible. And now you sort of just have, this jumbo pot of information that is not really useful to you. You should be looking to sort of keep it clean. The further we go, we have our preferences. We can add links to charts. We can have a quick toolbox up here, which is what I have. So this is my trend line. I also like to use fixed range volume, so I'll go ahead and utilize that tool quite often inside of my trading day, essentially to give me information that I am looking for. This tool in particular will sort of tell you with the mean line how much trading went and happened around particular portions of the day. They might hit that particular POC multiple times, so it might be a good indication to trade in and around that price, for example. And so the trading desk is not as daunting as most people think that it is when they open it up. It's just essentially your price action. Down here, you'll have your volume, you'll have your time, which is where the market resides. You're going to have a toolbox, you'll have your time frames, and then the rest of it is pretty much preference. That's up to you. Excuse me. Um, the rest of it is pretty much preference. That's up to you. On the side here, we're going to have our price. So right now on the S&P futures right now on the S&P futures contract, it is trading at 5,701. You can go ahead and change this to percentages. You can change it to ticks. You can change it to pretty much anything that you would like in the future. And so you just sort of play around and figure out what your ultimate setup is. And then it depends on what type of trade desk that you have, but most trade desks will now give you your news profiles. So this one is U.S. housing starts. And so these are just like your meetings, your economic meetings. So we have our big Fed meeting here today. And so when you're inside of the trade desk, you can have multiple windows. For example, this is how I like to trade. I like to have a window open on the time frame that I like to particularly trade at. That lime green line is called the VWAP that you're looking at there. And then I will have a higher time frame on my left hand side, which I'll usually have it zoomed in quite a bit. And so I am taking a look a little bit deeper at the price action. And so my setup normally day to day will be the 5 minute, which is where I'm taking my positions in, and then I'll take a 2 panel window, right? Which is how this normally is set up, and I will move this panel all the way over here and sort of just set up a small bias window and a higher time frame. And then I'll be able to take a look at confirmations inside of higher time frames in order to take positions inside of the lower. So my setup is basic. Indicators that I use, we'll go over that later. I have 9 that are sort of in my basket here, and you can toggle any of your indicators on and off as you see fit. You don't have to utilize all of them all at once, as I stated before, and you shouldn't be doing that regardless. And so when you are inside of the trade desk, for example, we'll go back down to one screen. You're usually going to start with the information looking like this. It's going to be very flat, and when you open up a new window, you're going to be like, what am I looking at? Well, essentially when you come over to the right hand side and you click down, it's going to allow you to scroll up and expand the view of your candlesticks. And then on the bottom half, on your other axis, you'll be able to click down and also expand that as well to your liking. A lot of trade desks will have also a just general reset button, but I like to get it to where I'm sort of looking at the entire day and possibly being able to scroll over and look at other previous information. And then, as I stated, I'll usually have 2 windows. And so it'll work the same here as you're able to expand and contract. And I'll usually have a bias window here, and then my main window will usually just be showing me sort of a general gist of the day, but large enough for me to feel comfortable looking at it, and I'm not squinting my eyes or anything. But you'll be able to set your levels, etc. And no matter if you are trading inside of the same contract or the same asset, etc., when you take a position, if the trade desk triggers your position, like say, for example, if we got in here, then it will also show it on other time frames. So you'll be able to also see your position moving, same real time, but inside of a different time frame, like the 15-minute and the 5-minute, or the 15 and the 30, or the 30 and the 5, etc. So this is pretty much the gist of the trading desk. It's obviously not as daunting as you might think that it is. And so you just need to essentially go around your desk and take a look at where all of the things that we discussed are located. And then you'll be able to move on and figure out how you can take your positions and any customizable options that come along with that once you do.